Hi, this is Mrs. Ellison, and this is the work-through for the Algebra 1 Chapter 3 practice test. Let's get started with number 1. We have describe the solutions of -1 plus h is less than 6 in words. And the best way to start this problem is to get h isolated on one side of the equation, one side of the inequality. We'll do that by adding 1 to both sides, leaving us with h is less than 7. And really that is exactly what it's asking for to describe the solutions in words. H is less than 7. That is option A. Number 2, graph the inequality f is less than 0.8. Okay, so we have less than, but not equal to, so that indicates an open dot. And less than means arrow to the left. So that's going to be option D. Number 3, write the inequality shown by the graph. Looks like our endpoint here is 4.5 and our variable is m. So we just have to decide what sign to put in here. Since our arrow is to the left, we just discussed that would be a less than symbol. And since this is an open dot, it's non-inclusive, we will not have the or equal to line underneath the less than symbol. That would be option B. Number 4, solve the inequality m plus 6.5 is greater than or equal to -1 and graph the solutions. We need to start by isolating m on one side of the inequality. Usually the left side is the one we go for. So we'll do that by subtracting 6.5 from both sides. That cancels here, and we have m is greater than or equal to -7.5. Okay, so that is not A and that is not D. We just have to decide which one of B and C is graphed correctly. Both of them look like they have closed dots. That is the inclusive or equal to bar that we see here. So we need to decide which direction this greater than will send our arrow, and that will be to the right. So that's going to be option C. Number 5. Callista has $345 in her savings account. She wants to save at least $665. Write and solve an inequality to determine how much more money Callista must save to reach her goal. Let D represent the amount of money in dollars she must save to reach her goal. Okay, she has $345. She's going to add a certain other number of dollars to that account. And we want it to be at least $665. So the questions I always ask myself here, we know that it could be less than, equal to, or greater than, or some combination. So would she be happy with less than $665? The answer is no. She would be happy with equal to, she would be happy with more than. So that's going to be our greater than or equal to symbol. And then to solve that, we would subtract 345 from each side, which would be D is greater than or equal to $320 more. It's going to be option A. Number 6 is similar to number 1. Describe the solutions of 1 plus g is greater than -7 in words. And again, we would need to subtract 1 from both sides to get g by itself. So we have the value of g as a number greater than -8, be D. And graph the inequality. W is less than or equal to -3.6. The or equal to inclusion bar here indicates a closed dot. So that's neither of the open dot problems. And less than means arrow to the left. Less and left go together there. So we have A. Okay, number 8 asks us to write the inequality shown by this graph. Here we have, it looks like our variable is m, and our dot, our endpoint, is at 1. It is a closed dot, which means it can be equal to, and the arrow is to the left, so it's less. So less than or equal to 1. That's B. Number 9 says to solve the inequality and graph the solutions. So we have a minus 3 is greater than negative 5. And we would add 3 to both sides. Cancels here. And a is greater than negative 2. All right, so that is A and D. And which one of these is graphed correctly? Both have an open dot, which is good because we do not have an inclusion symbol here, the or equal to bar. It is greater than, which means to the right, so that will be A. Carlotta subscribes to the Hotburn music service. She can download no more than 15 song files per week. She has already downloaded 12 song files this week. Write, solve, and graph an inequality to show how many more songs she can download. All right, so she can download S more songs plus the 12 that she's already downloaded, and that's no more than 15, so she can download less than 15. She can download exactly 15, but no more than that, so that's our less than or equal to. We would solve by subtracting 12 from both sides, and so S is less than or equal to 3. Now, this is kind of a different graph from the one we had before. Generally speaking, they don't download partial songs. So you would have to kind of think she could download 3 or 2 or 1 or 0. And this graph would be that set of points at 0, 1, 2, and 3 that are displayed here. That's going to be option C. Number 11, solve the inequality W over negative 2 is greater than or equal to negative 3. So this W divided by negative 2, in order to undo that division, we need to multiply both sides then by negative 2. And when we multiply both sides of an inequality by a negative number, we need to remember to reverse that inequality symbol. So this ends up W is less than or equal to negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. So we have, looks like C is the option for us there. Number 12, solve the inequality 4r is greater than or equal to 8 and graph the solutions. Here we need only divide both sides by 4, leaving us with r is greater than or equal to 2, and that's option A. Number 13, solve the inequality 4/3 W minus 2 is greater than negative 6. This would be a two-step inequality. We need to add 2 to both sides, and we have 4/3 W is greater than negative 4. And then to undo this multiplying by 4/3, we can multiply by the reciprocal 3/4. Make that a fraction. We have this. And then we have W is greater than, this would be negative 12/4, which is negative 3. So that's option D. Number 14, solve the inequality negative 4a plus 12 plus a is less than or equal to negative 3 and graph the solutions. We had a little 4-step process that I showed in my classes where you can distribute, combine like terms, get your variables to the left, and then solve. Usually you're left with a 2-step equation at that point. I'm sorry, inequality at that point. There's nothing here to distribute, but we can combine some like terms. We have negative 4a and positive a, which would be negative 3a plus 12 is less than or equal to negative 3. So that takes care of combining like terms. We have no variables to move from the right to the left, so we're good there, and we can just solve from here. So from here I would subtract 12 from both sides. Negative 3a is less than or equal to negative 15. And then I can divide both sides by negative 3, which would also reverse this inequality symbol because we're dividing by a negative number. A is now greater than or equal to positive 5. That's option A for 14. Number 15, solve the inequality 6x is less than 4x plus 6 and graph the solutions. So we have nothing to distribute. We have no like terms on either side to combine. So let's move our variables to the left by subtracting 4x from both sides. That leaves us with 2x is less than 6. And so dividing both sides by 2, we have x is less than 3. That's option A. Number 16, Mrs. Williams is deciding between two field trips for her class. The Science Center charges $150 plus $6 per student. The Dino Discovery Museum simply charges $11 per student. For how many students will the Science Center charge less than the Dino Discovery Museum? Okay, so we're looking for the Science Center being less than the Dino Discovery Museum. So we need to come up with an expression that describes the cost for each place. If the Science Center charges $150 plus $6 per student, you could say plus 6 times the number of students that we take. The Dino Discovery Museum is just $11 per student, so it'd be 11N. And from here, we can subtract 6N from both sides. We have 150 then is less than 5N. Divide both sides by 5, and 30 is less than N. And we talked in class about how when you need to flip-flop to get the variable on the left, when you flip-flop the inequality, you have to flip-flop the symbol as well. Or we also said this is pointing at 30, it needs to stay pointing at 30. So N is greater than 30, more than 30 students. It is less expensive to go to the Science Center. That's option D. Number 17, solve the inequality 5 times the quantity z plus 8 is less than 5z plus 4. I would start by distributing this 5. That becomes 5z plus 40. 5 times 8 is 40. Less than 5z plus 4. And there's no like terms on either side to combine, so we can move our variables to the left. But you'll notice when we subtract that 5z to cancel out this one, it accidentally cancels that one out too. So now we're left with just a number statement. 40 is less than 4. And you have to ask yourself, is that a true statement or a false statement? Well, clearly 40 is not less than 4. So what we have here is a false statement. And when that's the case, we have no solution. That's option C. And I'm going to stop here for the first part. I'll do a second video with the remaining problems, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you.